What's going on, guys? So in front of me, you were looking at our two RVs. First of all, we have our 2021 Coachman Brookstone fifth wheel. This is a full profile wide body fifth wheel on a drop frame. I worked with the folks at Coachman in designing this product. Now, this was not specifically for my family. This was a collaboration to come up with a new mid-bunk floor plan for the Brookstone lineup because they didn't have one yet. So we did a 3-year collaboration to come up with this specific floor plan. It's a little different than the current Brookstone mid-bunk that's available, but there's a lot of similarities. A lot of things we focused on were running gear, suspension, things that made this more reliable, a little bit easier to work on or maintain, as well as a little bit more capable. And next to it, we have our 2024 Forest River Surveyor Legend. So we just got this. We got an insane deal on this one because the folks over at the Surveyor division saw my channel and they saw that I always talk about half-ton towing. And this was like the perfect opportunity to collaborate with a brand that makes a lot of half-ton towable travel trailers and get a unit that we could demonstrate. We could add accessories to, like this B&W Continuum hitch. A lot of people have been wanting to know all about this thing. We're putting a lot of other upgrades on this. We're going to do a lot with this, and we're going to take it out and camp with it because it's super cool and it's super easy to tow, even with our 23 GMC Denali half-ton pickup truck. That said, though, that's not what this video is about. So I've had at least a dozen people that have reached out to me and told me to do some type of a video explaining single pane windows versus dual pane windows and if it's worth getting. Now, I know other YouTubers have tackled this conversation, and there's a lot of debate around, do dual pane windows actually exist on RVs? Let's talk about that. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the ability to talk about this because my Coachman Brookstone actually has insulated windows. They are dual pane windows from Lippert. Now, if you don't know, Lippert manufactures about 100%, nearly 100%, like 99.9% of all the windows that are on pretty much any RV that's on the road. There's a few other manufacturers out there, but they're few and far between. Lippert really handles the majority of them. So whether you have a motorhome or a towable trailer, fifth wheel, pop-up, it doesn't really matter. It's probably a Lippert product in terms of the window. Now, the Brookstone has dual pane windows, as mentioned earlier. The Surveyor has single pane windows. And probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I started getting all these emails and comments from folks saying, are dual pane windows actually real? Because they started seeing some posts from other folks saying that they're not, that the dual pane window you essentially buy on an RV, the typical window, it's just two panes of glass that are stuck together and there's no air gap in between them. So a true dual pane window has an air gap that's sealed and they put a gas inside of it, and that acts as a thermal barrier that gives you an R value. And a lot of people say that's not what you get with an RV. So first of all, let's tackle the question, is it really just two panes of glass stuck together? Like basically laminated together, or is there actually a space with a gas in between? Let's take a look at one of my windows that I currently have open here, and we're gonna see if it's actually a space or if the two panes are stuck together. Now, the reason why I'm even doing this video, again, is because of the sheer number of people who emailed me and left comments about this question, about this topic, asking me this question. And secondly, because I honestly am blown away by the performance of dual pane windows. If I didn't think they were effective, I would have told you, because there's no reason for me to not tell you that, if that makes sense. We got them on the Brookstone. It was one of those things that we really wanted to see how they performed. If they didn't perform well, we would have told you, because again, the manufacturers themselves, believe it or not, a lot of them, like Brookstone, they actually don't really like putting these on their RVs because they add a tremendous amount of weight and they're stupidly expensive. So they prefer not to put these on. But we got them put on our Brookstone because I really wanted to see what the difference was. Whenever you get an RV that has single pane windows and the sun's blasting on it, you can tell it feels like an oven on the inside of the window. You can feel that radiant heat just like boiling through. And I know those of you with RVs that camp, anywhere where the sun's hitting it, know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why people put that bubble wrap material on the inside to help prevent that, as well as some of the moisture and condensation issues that can occur when you have a single pane window. And our first RV and our second RV and our third RV all had single pane windows, and we dealt with that problem. They were boiling hot, so hot that if our daughter was sitting at a table in front of the window and she put her hand against it when the sun was hitting it, it felt like it was burning her. That's how hot it was. On this unit, we just wanted to see if dual pane windows were actually a thing, if it mattered, if they helped. And the folks over at Coachman actually advised us that they don't like putting them on. They have them. It's an option. They've left it as an option, but it's not one that they prefer to put on RVs, again, because it adds a lot of weight, It adds like twice the weight per window, as well as they're seriously expensive. And they know that. And if they don't have to put those on, that's money they can put towards other items on the RV, because a lot of people don't even notice the windows. But that said, let's jump back to it and talk about these. Are they truly dual pane windows where there is a space between them that they can put gas in? But we're going to do a test that might actually help us understand what's happening. So let's hop inside real quick and take a look at this window. Okay, so we are inside the fifth wheel now. You can see the label here that says insulated windows. And what I can tell you right off the bat is there's absolutely an air pocket in there. Let me try to find a good angle here where I can show you what we're looking at. So from the side, you can see the outer pane right there. You can see the inner pane where my finger's touching, and you can see that foam gasket that's separating the two. I don't even know if it's foam, but yes, there is absolutely space between this window. You can actually see it really good right here with the inner text, the inner print that's on the window, and the outer print, and you can see how it's offset. Looks to be about 1/4 inch. And it also looks, again, to be a steel channel that goes all the way around with foam on the outside of it, as well as foam on the inside of it. And you can actually see what appears to be the bubbles, or the gas that's inside of there, pressing up against the inner seal, but not making it all the way to the outer seal. So there's absolutely air gap between the outer pane and the inner pane. No question about it. 100% there is an air gap between the two. Okay, so I've opened up one of the front windows on the Surveyor, again single pane, and you can see that it's just one piece of glass. Just like that, one piece of glass, no interior piece of glass as well, no air gap, nothing. I can actually move it around with my hand freely if I want to. Let me see if I can find a sliding window on the Brookstone to show you the same thing. Okay, so I may have lucked out here. The side windows on the slide out are actually standard framed windows, and this one looks like it slides up, so let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Glad I did that, because this is a much better example. Clearly, two panes of glass with an air gap between them. And again, you can see the steel channel right there. You can see the rubber seal on the outside. You can also see the rubber seal on the inside. Much thicker. It's at least 3 times thicker, which accounts for the thickness of the glass. Maybe a little thicker than that, because the channel in the middle looks to be about 1/4 inch thick. And then you have an inner piece of glass. The glass is definitely much heavier just from moving it around too. So big difference. This is not just 2 pieces of laminated glass like you see in a vehicle. Some of the newer cars, luxury cars, have 2 pieces of glass just stuck together. That is not what's going on here. There is definitely an air gap in there. Okay, so this next demonstration I'm going to show you, I think will demonstrate the pros of dual pane glass over single pane glass. So in front of me, I have my DeWalt heat gun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it outside the window, about 5 inches away from the window for 20 seconds, just hitting the window directly. Then I'm going to come inside, use my infrared thermometer, and we're going to actually check to see how hot the glass is. Now, a lot of people are going to say it's glass, can you test it? Yes, glass is a barrier, and a infrared thermometer will actually check the temperature of the glass itself. So the first thing I want to do is switch it to Fahrenheit. And I'm just hitting the glass right there, 80.9 degrees. It's about the same temperature as everything else in here. So 80.2, 80.3. Okay, so we got a pretty good baseline reading, 80.3 degrees. I'm going to go outside and we're going to see if we can heat it up and then check what the temperature is. It is set for high, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the trigger now. I'm going to let the front of it heat up until it's glowing red. Shouldn't take very much time. There it goes. Very hot. I'm going to hold it about 4 inches, 5 inches away from the glass, and just hold it there for about 20 seconds. Then I'm going to check the inside temperature to see how hot it is. We know that it's 80 degrees baseline. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, let's go inside. I'll do this in real time, as quick as I can. Now let's try to point it towards the center. 121.4. 121.3. Let's check the outside temperature. 121, 127, 125. So 80 degrees was our baseline. Yeah, that is pretty dang hot, and it transferred a lot of that heat directly to the inside. And that's the reason why those of you with RVs know how impacting it can be when sun hits the side of your RV window and radiates that heat inside. It's no surprise. Now let's go check the Brookstone and do the same test over there. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is get my baseline. So I'm going to go ahead and point it at it. 81.3. 81.3 degrees, and I'm putting it right at the center right here. Okay, let's go outside with the heat gun. 20 seconds, high temperature, see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna let it run for a second. Let the front get glowing hot, as you can see. Now let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. A little bit longer just in case somebody thought that I was counting faster. Now let's go inside with our thermometer. Shine it right in the center. 83.6 degrees. It's not even warm. 83.5 degrees. All right, now I'm going to go out, so 82.9. I'm going to show you something here because I want you to see if the glass is still hot in real time. 130.4 degrees. 134 degrees. So I think the answer here is pretty dang definitive. In here, it raised it 3 degrees, and I held the heat gun longer up to this window than I did this window. Again, having dual pane windows with the air gap with the gas inside is certainly the reason why this is acting as a better thermal barrier than this window. Anyways, guys, I felt that this was a video that had to be made because there's so many people who are on the fence about dual pane windows. I certainly was. And you know, what I can tell you is the same thing that I just demonstrated now. When we have super hot sun hitting the side of the RV, you can feel the glass and it pretty much feels the same temperature as inside of the RV. When you have single pane windows and you feel the glass, that's a very good representation of how hot it is outside of the RV. So on single pane windows, they act as almost a radiator, just radiating heat into your RV, versus dual pane windows, which absolutely block a lot of that heat transfer. I hope this helps. I hope this explains some things and answers some of the questions for the dozens of people who have asked me about single pane windows versus dual pane windows, and if dual pane windows are really a good thing or if they're just kind of fake smoke and mirrors. They're not. They're real. They work, and they may not have a ton of R value per se, but you saw it here, you know, over 100 degrees on the outside of this window, and it was only 3 degrees hotter on the inside of the window after holding a heat gun up to both windows. Now, I was trying to make this as unbiased, as direct, as, I guess, pseudo-scientific as possible so you could see it, and I tried to do a lot of this in real time so you could also see that. Not fudging the numbers here, not trying to make it seem better than they really are. This is just the facts of how they actually perform. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.